Remember this constant drumbeat about what Modi did or did not do in the 2002 riots? Were there no riots before that in India? Well, how about we take a trip down memory lane and look at how riots played out all the way back from the 1920s. We have picked up a few references that we are going to give you in the description section so you can take a look at them, read more, so you can get to understand the depth, intensity and the outcome of many of these riots. And if I'm not a Yale, I'm not a PhD, and if I were someone of that caliber, I would expect that I would present data the way it is done here so that you can say, okay, there is a definitive proof that there is something wrong. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at what I found thus far. 1920, that's when the Moplah riots happened. This was a direct offshoot of the Khilafat movement, and knowingly or unknowingly, Gandhi actually aided this. And I think this was something that perhaps he was still trying to, put down his or get his bearings on India, if you will. And this was a terrible massacre. We are going to learn more about this sometime during this week when we'll have the maker of the movie that has come on this particular incident. Thousands of Hindus were killed. Thousands. This is just too terrible to say what happened here. Then in 1923-24, riots broke out in Kohat city where about 155 were killed, and Hindus had to evacuate the city. You will see systematically the same thing. Riots happen, people get killed, and Hindus end up evacuating a certain area. 1925-1926, antagonism between Hindus and Muslims became widespread. Riots in Calcutta, United Provinces, and Bombay Presidency. The numbers here are not mentioned because it is really high. This is British rule. Some data is missing, so we couldn't really provide you the exact number. But 100 is nothing when you talk about so many places riots breaking out. It was a systematic campaign that was done that we have to show. And the reason why one community kept doing this was because they were sure that the other community was not capable of retaliating, that it was not in its genes, it was not in its religion to retaliate back in kind. Get this, you idiots. This is how it has been. And I'm calling idiots to whom? You people who watch this will understand. If you don't know how to defend yourself, this is what's going to happen to you. And then to add insult to injury, they will use it against you and play victimhood. Let's take a look at 1927. 40 riots took place from April to April of 1928, in which there were 197 deaths and injuries of 1598. This is all under British rule. So the British cannot sit on a high horse and say that India is not capable of running itself. You let all these things happen. In fact, it gets worse for the British. Take a look at this. In 1927, the Afridis and Shinwaris, these are tribes in the Khyber Pakhtun area, they were called upon. Who did they call? Who called them? Well, I don't remember if 1927 already had state elected governments or not, but the Hindus were expelled from there. 1967, this is post-independence, the place of incident was Hatia Ranchi, where 183 lives were lost. And the ruling party, this is the first time in 1967 that non-Congress state governments were formed. This one was Jan Kranti Dal and the chief minister was MP Sinha. 1969, it was Ahmedabad, 512 lives were lost. The ruling party was Congress and the chief minister was Hitendra Desai. So you see that the city of Ahmedabad has had a history of Hindu-Muslim rioting. 2002 wasn't something like a one in a century kind of an occurrence. That's the point I'm trying to make. 1970, the place of incident was 𝙒𝙬, this is in Maharashtra. 100 lives were lost. The ruling party was again Congress and the chief minister was Vasantrao Naik. 1979, the place of incident was Jamshedpur. 120 lives lost. Janata Party in power. Karpuri Thakur was the chief minister. 1980, the place of incident was Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh. 1,500 lives were lost. The ruling party was Congress, and guess who was the chief minister? Vishwanath Pratap Singh, who went on to become the prime minister in 1989. So it's not as if, again, Modi was not like a person who was singled out the way these guys singled him out, there were many others who also went on to become prime ministers. So riots are riots. It is instigated at a certain place with a certain aim in mind, certain objective in mind. Somebody wants to grab land, that is one of the causes. Somebody wants to try and prove a point in terms of like, oh, if you don't make me this, I'm going to show you what I am. Those kinds of things happen also. So there's a lot of reasons why these things happen. But the poor always are the ones who suffer. 1983, an incident happened in Nelli, Assam. 1,819 lives were lost. Most of them were Muslims in this case. And that time the city was under president's rule and the country was under Congress. It was Indira Gandhi who was the chief prime minister at that point of time. 1984, it was Bhiwandi, Maharashtra. 146 lives lost. Congress was in power and Vasandatta Patil was the chief minister. You have to remember that it was Patil that Sharad Pawar ousted to kind of get that Maratha control. Now, I'm not mentioning here what happened in the aftermath of the assassination of Indira Gandhi here, because that was more of a targeted genocide that was done again by Congress. Many people say, how come being the Home Minister, Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao did nothing? Well, if you read the books, it is clear that Narasimha Rao was asked to not do anything and that this was being handled from the PMO's office. I think it was first few days of Rajiv Gandhi's prime ministership, and it happened right under his nose. 1985. This time it was Ahmedabad again. 300 lives lost. Party in power was Congress, and the chief minister was Madhav Singh Solanki. 1989, Bhagalpur, and 1161 lives lost. Ruling party was Congress, and chief minister was S.N. Singh. 1990 again in Delhi, right in the capital, 100 lives were lost, and this is a union territory, which means it was the party that was in power. At this point of time, I don't remember who was in power, but I think it was the last few days of the VP Singh prime ministership. 1990 again, Hyderabad had 365 lives killed. By the way, all through the 70s and 80s, having lived in Hyderabad, old city, witnessed a whole bunch of killings. Every time a chief ministerial aspirant wanted to prove a point, they always started creating riots in the old city of Hyderabad. There are many people, and Chenna Reddy was there. They wanted to unseat him. Narayan Reddy, that Reddy, this Reddy, all sorts of stuff. All of them did the same thing. They would go and instigate a riot and then say the law and order has crumbled, therefore change the chief minister. That happened in the 70s, late 70s, up until Telugu Desam came to power in 1983 under N.T. Ramarao. There used to be a lot of tamasha. Again, look at 1990. Again, it was Congress that was back in power after throwing out N.T. Ramarao, and this was again Chenna Reddy, and the incident happened where 365 lives were lost. Again, another incident in 1990. 1990 was a year of riots. Aligarh, 150 lives were lost. The ruling party was Janata Dal, under which there was Mulayam Singh Yadav. He was the chief minister at that time. Again, Mulayam Singh Yadav also ordered firing on car sevaks in a little bit later, I think. That I've not included here because those are all, deliberate. Here we are talking about one religion versus another religion. 1992, Surat, Gujarat again, 152 lives were lost. Congress, Janata Dal G and Janata Dal were in power, and the chief minister was Chimanbhai Patel. 1992, Kanpur, 254 lives lost. At this time, the city was under president's rule. It does happen sometimes when a particular area is under a fair amount of tension, that can be treated as if it is being run from the center. In this case, it was the Narasimha Rao government that was again central Congress. 1992, Bhopal, 143 lives lost, Congress. 1993, Mumbai, 872 lives were lost. City was under president's rule. Guess who was the central government? Narasimha Rao's Congress. 2002, we finally come to the thing that gets talked as if there was nothing else before that. 1,267 lives lost. Ruling party was BJP and the chief minister was Narendra Modi. Now, it is up to the viewers to decide that this particular riot merits so much attention that there is no mention of something before that and demonization of a particular individual takes place. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. And also, if you are not logged into Twitter, please open an account, become a member on Twitter, because we are doing a lot of Twitter spaces where some of our specialists and myself will be coming and we'll be chairing it. We'll be there for many times, 2 to 3 hours at a time. So it's not just like, one question, one answer, but you can have a detailed discussion, more in-depth discussion on topics. And I'm hoping that this particular video that I have started here will be one such Twitter spaces. Thanks once again. Namaskar.